What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1110 of Pop Culture Crisis. It's becoming like a weird thing to look at the numbers and try to remember just what the heck I have to say. So thank you guys so much. It is. My name is Brett. I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We are back from the weekend. Hope all of you are well. I have a little update in my nicotine habit. I'm trying some new Zyn flavors that finally showed up in the mail.
Wait, and you can order them off the internet and stuff?
There are certain ones you have to order online, I believe.
Wait, so
at least I don't see them in person.
How do they check your ID?
I don't know how they do it, but it didn't ask me to put in my driver's license number or something. It just asked for. Well,
it just asked you to pinky swear. They're
I was like, there must be some system that I don't know about that involves my phone number or my bank account information or something, because otherwise, I don't see how they're preventing teenagers from buying Zyns online. But that's kind of the least of our worries about what they're doing. But yeah, I had to order some exclusive flavors. So I tried Dragonberry so far, and what is the other one? I think it's peach.
Do they work? That's the real question. Do they work like regular Zyns do? Do you feel it?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're the same as always. Same 6 milligram pouches, but peach is a little strong. I like it better than minty flavors, but it's a little strong for me. It's kind of too sweet, like candy-ish, but it's like a peach ring. It's like those little candies, the peach rings.
I've not had those in years.
Dragonberry. Also, by the way, they're both all of them are very fragrant.
Are the regular ones not?
No, not normally. I got the black cherry flavor as well, which I knew I wouldn't like. I don't know why I got it, but it smells straight up like cherry medicine that you would drink as a kid. So that one is nauseating. Dragonberry, though, I highly recommend. It smells like passion fruit.
Okay.
And it's, I think, a stronger citrus than the one that you can normally get, the just normal citrus flavor. So those are my reviews.
Also, update, you have the Wednesday cosplay, but it won't be on Wednesday because we are going to do tomorrow. Different
schedule this week, so I'm on today, obviously. I'm on tomorrow.
11/11
and Thursday.
Yeah. 11/11.
Yes, 11/11, which I originally thought I was going to be on episode 11/11. Then that was snatched away from me. Now I can be on that episode, which is an interesting milestone. I don't know if it's an alignment of the stars or something, but yeah, we decided to switch up the schedule this week.
Yeah, you got something going on this week, and then so Mikey's going to do Wednesday, and then on Friday, I'm working out Friday, so we're going to get it all figured out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Guys, as always, before we get started, hit the like button on this episode and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. What? Oh,
I just realized that we have $20 super chats.
Yes, 2 of them.
Sorry. Katie said, hello, Brett and Mary. Last week, I saw Spider-Man. I thought it was awesome. I loved it. I do love the character of Hulk, not the actor, LOL. Best Marvel film in a while. Does it still count as a Marvel film?
Yes. He's MCU canon. So yeah, I mean, even though Sony made it, it's a Sony movie, but it's also a Marvel movie. It's very difficult to figure out.
I was doing some market research over the weekend and heard from a couple of people that they know Doomsday will be slop, but they're going to see it anyway.
I have no doubt a lot of people are going to go see it even though it's slop. And I still have my questions about whether it makes as much money as Spider-Man, because it just feels like...
How is that even possible?
To make less than Spider-Man?
To make more.
Or to make... I mean...
In at least this amount of time.
Look, the things working against it are the fact that it looks like Cameo the movie. It doesn't look like any one character is going to get, other than Thor, is going to get enough screen time to really tell what feels like a cohesive story, which means the option there is to make the story focused on Doctor Doom and not the heroes, because none of the heroes seem like they're going to be on screen enough to have any type of coherent storyline that's satisfying. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe they do something different. But I was probably the first person a couple months ago who said, I think it's possible that the popularity of Spider-Man and the degradation of Marvel as a brand, or as the MCU as a brand, means that it's possible that Spider-Man makes more money than Doomsday. And that was when I thought the projections were high, and they ended up exceeding those projections. Now, look, maybe I'm totally wrong, and this is just the exact right type of slop that people want. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see if maybe the next Avengers trailer ends up exciting more people about it. But for me, it just feels like there's still a question there.
We have another 20 from Shane H. Wilder. Happy Monday, Brett and Mary. The Ariana Grande discourse has been eye-opening. Call me sheltered or just stupid, but I did not realize that so many people were fine with self-deletion and actually applaud it. It is appalling.
It's a pretty common discussion that people, like every television show has this type of episode where they go back and forth, a relative of a character does something like this, and then people have their moral dilemmas, and they have their back and forth about what, whether it's okay. Like the show House, not to have to, check it off the bingo card too early, had this discussion multiple times, and people had their thoughts on it.
Well, it feels almost like we're past the point where it's even something that is up for debate, and
like the person who doesn't like it is not even part of the discussion anymore.
People are not even like listening at this point, and like the responses that I'm getting on Instagram right now are, 90%, and I could be, zeroing in on just the people who think to comment. That's like a selection bias in and of itself, but it's not looking good. I just wish that there could be something as basic as that we could all agree on, but apparently not.
I mean, the rise of the MAID program means that was never
right.
That doesn't get codified into law until society has degraded that far.
The decision has been made, it seems.
All right, guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into, but as always, hit the like button on the episode and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, as I was saying. So what are we talking about today? Well, it looks like just the mere discussion of Ariana Grande and what people believe to be health concerns around her and her own behavior is seeming to lead to an epidemic on all sides of people who are triggered just by the discussion, which, of course, to a rational person, it feels like it's some type of soft power play to try and get you to stop doing it by trying to guilt you out of having a reasonable discussion about a member of the public forum. Right? At least that's what it feels like to me. So
I think it sounds paid off, but that's
you think
I don't know.
Ariana and her team hired themselves some experts with a capital E and decided to put this out. That could be true. We may never know, but we will discuss it because it's all over the internet. We are also going to talk about Will Gluck. Yes, that is his name, ladies and gentlemen.
Will Gluck 9000.
He made One Night Only. That's what it's called, right? Just came out over the weekend. And in this movie, which is basically the horny purge, he just now tells everybody that they had to cut the nudity and the sex scenes out of the movies because the Gen Zs don't want to watch the movies, and because they don't want to watch sex scenes. And the weird thing is like, then why are they so obsessed with making movies about it if nobody wants to watch it? It's a question for the philosophers. So we'll get into that. We'll discuss it.
You should just make movies that have 3 words in the title.
Perfect.
Anyone But You, One Night Only. It's a formula that seems to work.
Good Will Hunting.
Sure.
There you go. Well, he
didn't make that one.
No, but I'm just listing movies. Well, what are some other 3-name movies? Can you think of any off the top? This is one of those things where if you watch like a YouTube short about it,
Ready Player One.
There you go. That was good. Yeah.
That was right off the top of my head.
Godzilla -1 or -0 and -1.
Yes.
I guess does having like the colon and then because then Kong Skull Island, that's not really a 3-part name.
Doesn't count.
That doesn't count. No.
Yeah, I'm losing.
Chat, let us know if there are any movies with 3. I'm sure there are tons. It's just I'm doing a live show here, so I can't take the time to think of it. All right, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Sadie Sink. There was some interactions on the red carpet for Spider-Man. First of all, there was this really funny image of John Bernthal, like
Hover-handed. Not really hover-handing. Just like
he was
hover-fisting.
Yeah, he was like this.
That sounds wrong.
Yeah.
Hover-fisting sounds wrong.
And people were having discourse about, it makes him a good person because this is good, this is bad. This is good, this is bad.
This means you're
Safe.
not a predator against women.
Correct. So
Apparently.
we got that. It's all connected to Zendaya. We'll get into it. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get into today. If you're ready to go, Mary, we can go. Are you ready?
I think so.
Well, let's go for it then.
Fans of Curry Barker's breakout success Obsession are pissed right now about a recent decision involving one of the characters, Nikki Freeman. She is going to be featured as one of the mainstay roaming characters at Universal Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights. And they're calling this particular attraction Nikki Attack. It's going to be an actress, not Indy Navarrete herself, but playing the character of Nikki throughout the parks. They're supposed to, if you're unfamiliar with the concept, chase all of the attendees around, and that's part of the experience that you're paying for, is getting to interact with the characters from all of these projects. And it's sort of like Disney, but they're supposed to scare you. I don't know how I would fare in an environment like that.
Oh, you would hate it. You would hate it.
I would end up getting annoyed at the actors just for doing their job. Like, I would get annoyed at them for bothering me when I'm just trying to stroll around. So this doesn't seem like something I would be down for, but there are lots of horror fans who I'm sure have already bought out all the tickets. They made this announcement yesterday, actually, at the Horror Nights panel at Midsummer Scream. And they said that Universal confirmed it in a press release, saying guests whose only wish is to meet Nikki may find themselves face to face with the character on the streets of Universal Studios. Notably, they described Nikki in the press release as the latest victim of the One Wish Willow's terrifying curse. That wording establishes how Universal is approaching a potentially complicated character. Some fans expressed concern following the announcement because Nikki's obsessive behavior in the movie is not something she chooses.
I feel like we could have benefited from having Mike Harlow on today because he's such a horror movie fanatic. Like, to ask him, like, can you give me, because one of the basically the issue people have with this here is that she's not she's a victim. She's not, but she's still an antagonist. Right. Mike, I guarantee you Mike would have like a list of examples that probably fall in the same category. Chat, if you know, are there any other examples of somebody like this where they're both simultaneously a victim and the antagonist? I mean, I suppose anything with mind control could really go that way, but it's likely not going to be the main character. Any
movie surrounding like the concept of demonic possession as well.
Everyone that Jean Grey mind controlled in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Sure.
So Bear uses the One Wish Willow to force Nikki to love him, taking away her autonomy and setting the movie's events into motion. By explicitly calling Nikki a victim, they appear to acknowledge the distinction as the character makes the jump from the screen to the event. Universal has not detailed, though, exactly how guests will encounter Nikki or Nikki Attack. And there are tons of other characters that are featured as well that are less controversial than this. Although I did see Ozzy Osbourne on the list. Feels a little too soon, right? I don't know.
It's been a year. It's been over a year. Maybe
are we over it where someone can play his ghost?
5 years.
For laughs. I don't know. Yeah. There's also Vecna, the Demogorgon, of course.
What about the stick man from Backrooms? Is that not relevant or whatever it is?
No, but I feel like that might be because they just couldn't get the permission, like the rights.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a great, like, to have Captain Clark on the list. People would have loved that.
Yeah.
Killer Clowns.
Makes sense.
All the usual stuff, but she's particularly controversial. And here were some of the responses. One said, "This is undeniably pretty effing stupid. The biggest movie of the year, but commercializing a character that in the context of the film is a rape victim with no autonomy in your park is so insanely tone deaf. it's catering to the dumbasses who couldn't read the film's text for what it was. Really grossed out by this. Godspeed to the park actress having to play her. I feel really bad for the actors who have to go around Disney all day. Like, I don't understand how they survive.
Well, this is Universal, right? Not Disney.
Disney or Universal, they both do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is in a different context. I think you're more likely to come across some people who are creepy at the horror nights because it's more of an adult.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's wouldn't the creepier people show up at a time when it seems like less like the time they're supposed to be there? Feels like actually Halloween Horror Nights feels like a perfectly healthy time of celebration to do this type of stuff. Now, it's not the same thing as those people who are like, they're Halloween all year round. They leave the decorations up in the yard and it's kind of become their whole identity. I don't think that this rates.
I feel like the Halloween at Universal seems more adult oriented than a random day at Disney. But like these poor actors, I'm sure they have to deal with people like getting violent if they're scared, not realizing that, it's not the real character. I know it shouldn't have to be said. It shouldn't have to be clarified, but like people really don't have a good ability to distinguish fiction from reality. And you know that from like the fact that people who play annoying or evil characters get actual death threats as a result. Like
that's always happened though. That's happened for decades. That's not anything new.
The actress who played Skylar in Breaking Bad got tons of death threats.
I was watching a thing the other day. We were talking about how like all the other actors who were in Breaking Bad, like is somebody in the chat? Let me know. It was Anna Gunn, right? Who played her? Like every other actor has kind of milked that success of being on one of the greatest television shows ever made. She's kind of distanced herself from it because of the way people treated her.
Yeah, which is ridiculous because it's not a real person, and people just don't.
It's a compliment.
Have the ability to separate it in their mind.
It's supposed to be a compliment that you so perfectly embodied this character. It's just like there's something in their brain that doesn't kind of clarify that just because you don't like them doesn't mean it's not a good performance. In fact, if anything, it says that it says something great about their ability to kind of embody all of these awful traits.
Yeah, what's crazy is people are. I know that like every actor in Obsession is going to get a huge like boost in opportunities from this, but I think Indy Navarrete more than anybody else because the name of the actor who plays Bear totally escapes me.
Yeah, me too.
But he played it really well.
But okay, so the other thing he did, or at least from everything that people are saying he did. The other thing that I think is funny is people do the opposite or do the same thing though the other direction, where they actually tend to imbue positive traits into people who play good characters. So it is a weird inability to suss out what's real and what's fake. It's like they can't accept the idea of that somebody can be both a good, but that's why it's important for characters to play good guys and bad guys. Like it's still a big deal when Tom Cruise plays a bad guy from time to time. Like when he
diversify your portfolio a little bit.
When he was in Collateral, people made a big deal about it because normally he was playing these more heroic characters and then he wasn't. But for the actors, they all say the same thing. They say they love playing the bad guy because it's more fun. It's way more fun to play a bad guy.
For like supernatural universes, maybe more so than something like Breaking Bad, which is too like grounded in reality, maybe for people to understand that it's fiction.
So I'm confused. I just read something in the chat. So when people said that they would pick the bear, they weren't talking about him, right? Thank you in the chat for mentioning that.
People said
on purpose? Was he named that because of that discourse?
I'm not totally sure if Curry Barker ever acknowledged that was like the meaning behind the character's name.
I wonder.
But it's not the first because The Bear is a show where like they call him Carmy, but like they also call the restaurant The Bear, and it's this whole concept in it. But here are a few more responses. One said, not to be the friend who's too woke, but I think we've genuinely lost the plot here. It's just a movie, yeah, but this feels too silly. Are they really going to hire a bunch of short girls to run around acting crazy, screaming with blood on their face in a red zebra tank top, to also get chased around by guests? This feels out of touch. like when the grabber started showing up for meet and greets with guests, including young teens and families, and hoped everyone would forget that he's a literal PDF file. Having Nikki being harassed by swarms of guests is in very poor taste.
Okay, I don't know about poor taste, but it is corporatism to the extreme, right? It's like this is IP. We have IP. It made a lot of money. Therefore, we must something synergy, something corporate output, something. We have to use a bunch of buzzwords.
They're capitalizing on the moment, which you would expect. It's the same thing I said about girls dressing up as Nikki for Halloween, which of course a lot of them are going to do, and they're buying that zebra top.
The same discussion used to be had when couples would dress up as Joker and Harley Quinn. Is that them co-signing the idea of like, an extremely emotionally abusive husband or boyfriend? No, it's not. They're popular characters in popular media, and it's really not any deeper than that.
It was almost the fault of editing their scenes out of Suicide Squad that like made it this like, it was too superficial the way that they were portrayed in the movie because they were too scared to show their dynamic.
Yeah.
In all those deleted scenes, you would have seen that that was the dynamic, but they deleted them. Another one said, Nikki is a victim, but she's being put in the villain category yet again. Bear should be walking around if they wanted that, but this is just my opinion. One of the potential solutions here that was pitched is that they would have a bear character accompanying Nikki's character in the parks.
I don't think that's a horrible idea.
And it's not a bad idea, but he's not really the focus. Like, people don't remember his character as much. He's not as marketable.
Yeah, but I still think it's a good idea because they're
the visual markers of his character. Like, it would be hard to tell that an actor is playing him.
Yeah.
Another one said, I love Halloween Horror Nights, but Obsession is such a catastrophically bad idea, and I question if anyone even watched the movie to think if it was a good idea at all.
Oh, they did.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's brilliant, but Nikki is a victim, so what are we doing here? It doesn't change the fact, just because she's the victim in the story doesn't change the fact that her character after the wish is terrifying.
Yes.
And fits perftly in this context.
The problem here is like, okay, so maybe the better discussion is like, what do they call it? Elevated horror. The idea of elevated horror is maybe we've just reached a point in society where elevated horror doesn't translate to other mediums the way that a slasher movie does, because everybody recognizes Ghostface when Ghostface comes on screen, right? Or Freddy or Jason or any of these characters. It's a little bit easier to do cross-platform, cross-genre mixing as opposed to something that's, and I don't know if this is the proper term of elevated horror. I heard it come up when I was watching a retrospective on the Scream franchise. But the idea, they would list like Hereditary or like Midsummer as elevated horror. But like, while there is disturbing visual imagery, perhaps the storytelling is just a bit too layered and elevated to lead to a clean cut, like a clear cut person that can play a villain in a theme park night.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I would love to know what Indy Navarrete has to say about this. Because
like, as long as I don't have to do it,
she'd be like, this is great because I'm getting more attention. Like, it's really not that deep. Like, it is actually just a movie at the end of the day.
All right, let's move on. We got a 20 here really quick from Shane H. Wilder. He says, Nikki doesn't work well in a haunted attraction. I did a haunt a couple of years ago. It was fun being a killer clown with a chainsaw. I got hit in the face by a dude who I made scream like a girl in front of his chick.
But that is no joke. If you're signing up to do something like that, you understand that you can't predict people's reactions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when they're legitimately reacting in fear, like primal fear. Like, you have to understand that there's a risk there.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Bella Ramsey. It's been so long since we've spoken about Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, Bella Ramsey is once again back in the public eye. She is currently doing promotion for a new movie, and she went on a red carpet for its premiere with her co-stars in a very interesting, eye-catching, gender-neutral outfit. Now, I don't understand why it needs to be said that a shirt is gender neutral, given that it is made of fabric, so it doesn't have sexual characteristics.
Are we talking about this one here? But that's not the one we're talking about.
It's shown later in the video here. Yeah. Do you have that?
Yes.
No stranger to bending the rules.
She's wearing this thing called a bib cardigan by
Okay, we have taken things too far. We have the technology, but we spent all of our time asking if we could. We never asked if we should, and we should not.
They said Bella Ramsey is bending the rules of fashion. She stepped out on the red carpet in an unconventional look, a gray cashmere bib cardigan by Miu Miu with cutouts on the sides.
This shit looks like Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat.
And she said that in the past she prefers pieces that feel emotionally comfortable more so than physically comfortable. And she often gravitates towards suits for that reason instead of wearing dresses and more feminine outfits on red carpets. I don't think I've ever seen her actually wear a dress or skirt on a red carpet. Mm-hmm. And for the record, she does identify as non-binary and gender fluid, uses they, them pronouns.
As you said, a very jolly they, them pronouns.
She's very happy-go-lucky. She seems like a positive young person.
She does.
And, you know, a lot of people use this as an opportunity to speculate about whether she is perhaps the next Elliot Page. And some people were even claiming after this video came out that she got a double mastectomy, removing her breasts. I don't think that's the case.
I mean, this is more Timothy Chalamet, if you ask me.
I think this is just downplaying, you know, the fact that she is a woman and has womanly features more so than, you know, proving any sort of procedure took place. But
we have a 20. I'm sorry. From Easy E says Frankenstein's monster is the victim. He had no say in his creation, but no one is going to put the mad doctor Victor in the haunted house. It's about what's scary. That is a perfect answer. A perfectly reasonable answer.
Good analogy.
That, if anything, that's a perfect sign of our of equality in our culture. We now have, you know, we don't just have to have your offshoots like the Bride of Frankenstein. Now we have an actual female horror victim who can also play the killer. Mm-hmm. All right, continue.
One person who reposted this video from the red carpet said, "I am so sick of this potato person being forced down our throats. Why is she dressed like every Indian dude who just got money?" And he actually posted proof in the replies that this is in fact a stereotype. I do see the resemblance.
That
here.
one, yeah. I mean, it doesn't have the holes in the sides, but you know.
Yeah. She said, "If it were up to me, I would probably walk up at every event in a hoodie and trainers that I wear at home, but I realize that's not exactly acceptable." So she got this custom made for her appearance. And she also, in a recent interview, spoke more on her gender identity because she's asked about it literally every time that she gets interviewed. Mm-hmm. And she's acting like it shouldn't be a big deal. It shouldn't be a focal point. And she didn't expect it to be so controversial and such a point of interest whenever she does press.
Okay.
So they mention she turned 18 while they were making the first season of The Last of Us. And it sounds as if that time was a transformative one. For instance, it was when they realized they were neurodivergent. It was mentioned at the time that this was when she got an official diagnosis with autism. And it was then that they talked about their gender identity. In 2023, they told the New York Times that their gender has always been very fluid and that they would tick a box marked non-binary if asked. Ramsey has always talked about this with sensitivity and nuance, but they say now that they feel they weren't given enough warning about how much of a talking point it might become.
Wait, who the hell was supposed to give her that warning?
I guess, a PR team, which she almost certainly has.
And I guarantee you they said it's going to be a talking point, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and this takes up a lot of real estate in every interview she does, including this one.
I mean, to be fair, that would be kind of nice if you're that person. You know, you don't have to like branch off into new territory.
Right.
You've got familiar ground every single time that you have to get interviewed.
Exactly. Just before press for The Last of Us began, they were asked which pronouns they would be using. I'd expressed being in the middle, she says. For Ramsey, it was just a helpful descriptor. And then suddenly it became a huge thing where it's like, this is your identity and it's who you are. I wasn't aware of the impact that both positively and negatively, but I think the positive impact outweighs the negative in terms of being visible or giving a name to an experience. They remain relaxed about pronouns. Quote, people will see me and they're going to go she because, of course, I would. I accidentally misgender people. It's a thing that even I have to learn. There's a misconception that if you get someone's pronouns wrong, they're going to be offended, and it's a big thing. It's just not a big deal as long as you're respectful. And I think if somebody does correct you, then you respect that and you try your best. So I'm pretty chill about it.
That you know what it is. She is the Trojan horse to get the ideology through. In a lot of ways, she is the buttoned up suit version of craziness that you present to the world, because she seems very reasonable. She seems very kind, and I, for one, wouldn't be rude to somebody that's that reasonable and kind, and certainly that jovial. So it's a lot harder. And I was saying this to you before the show. About X, where it's like, I find the people who rigidly like complain about other people. So it's annoying when somebody tells you that you have to respect their pronouns. It's also annoying to me when somebody like uses the pronouns in a completely different discussion about somebody who's not there, and then somebody comes in to correct them and say, you know, actually they're a dude, or you know, like the point is to say, like, even if you didn't mean to respect the pronouns, and then somebody has to come in and be like, actually you shouldn't. Like, I just find that person to be just as trying and just as annoying. And in the realm of in a realm where both of them are annoying, she is the third option that is unfortunately going to win a lot of people over just because she's polite about it.
Well, I must admit that I am a chud when it comes to this subject matter. Like, I will insist on using the biologically correspondent pronouns. And I do, as you've already heard me say, I refer to Bella Ramsey as she. I refer to Elliot Page as she, because that is what they are. They are women, irrevocably female. And I do think that it is important, but it's less important to jump into a comment section and like correct people on it.
Well, also, like, if you approach her and she's polite to you and you're rude in her face, it's just, and I understand that's the point. That's the attack vector for a lot of them, which is, you know, everybody can dismiss the person who says, actually, it's ma'am, or whatever. Like, everybody can dismiss that person because they're a dick, okay? But if somebody does it in a polite way, that is an attack vector in and of itself. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily her approach, but it is absolutely a point of attack for some people who want to use your niceness in your manners as a weapon.
Sure. I don't think it's rude, though, to, you know, refer to someone with their non-preferred correct pronouns.
But also, that's like, you don't normally, that's not going to happen when you're talking to the person together anyways. It only happens when you're talking to them when they're not in the room. Right,
exactly. Which is the case with this conversation, for example. And she also says in this interview that her family members were the last people to address her by her preferred pronouns.
I'm sure.
After she came out to the world as non-binary. They say what's different now is that their family also uses they, them pronouns for them. This just feels like they're doing the thing where you have to refer to the person in third person as often as possible in order to, like, virtue signal that you're using the right pronouns.
I'm going to start talking in the third person. Brett is about to start talking. Brett is about to make his next point, and then Brett is going to move on to the next topic.
She said, I think it feels most accurate. That's all it is. They've been lovely about it. They always got a free pass, but it started to be weird because everyone in my life was calling me they, except them, and they know me the best. They were like, maybe we can just try. And it's very sweet hearing them try. I understand why it has become such a thing that people want to talk about and talk to me about, but it really is just a descriptive word for part of my experience of being in the world.
Again, that just all circles back to what most of this is, which is a deep-seated narcissism that much of the population seems to feel these days, where they're so wrapped up in their own identity that they're making it everybody else's problem.
You are right to call her like a Trojan horse for this ideology, because obviously Elliot Page is not doing great PR for the transgenderism ideology. Like, everything about her inspires a feeling of deep dread and despair. And Bella Ramsey actually seems like a friendly, generally professional, mature person in comparison. And you can tell that she's really emphasizing that she's not one of those unpleasant, activist types. Yeah, she's like very strongly wording it that way.
That goes a long
as
way.
Laid back and relaxed as possible when it comes to the subject.
That goes a long way in a time where everybody's divided and everything is made to be the end of the world. If you don't respect a pronoun or somebody's gender identity, and the examples you see online are of people having the worst reaction possible in whatever direction. Like I said earlier, I gave examples from both sides being annoying. But the point is, that's a very persuasive argument, but you should be aware of it, That's
especially, it's also relevant that Bella Ramsey, as of yet, and we can hope this remains to be true, hasn't undergone hormone replacement therapy or any other of these procedures that someone like Elliot Page has gotten. And hopefully that it remains to be true. Also, Bella Ramsey almost exclusively, I think exclusively at this stage in her career, has played female characters. That's it. She does not play non-binary or male characters. I doubt she ever will. But on the other hand, Elliot Page insists on only playing male characters, which definitely it's distracting at the very least. I think that was like the biggest problem with The Odyssey, is just her being in it. Okay. So Bella Ramsey is trying to be a little bit more of a marketable, more palatable version of Elliot Page, from the millennial generation.
All right. Brett is about to move on to the next topic, because we're not doing pronouns anymore. We're doing all. Okay, guys, let's talk about John Goodman, because John Goodman has lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, John Goodman has undergone a dramatic transformation over the years. He's lost hundreds of pounds. And now, of course, like everyone else, he has to face the Ozempic allegations. In a photo he took upon randomly meeting this fellow actor, David DeLuise, in a grocery store.
He looks so happy to see him.
Yeah, they just randomly bumped into each other and took a selfie. I am shocked that this actor even recognized John Goodman, honestly, because it doesn't look like him, but he must be a huge fan. And they took this picture. It was met with shock and disgust, actually, rather than congratulatory remarks for his weight loss journey that has been going on since well before Ozempic ever existed or was on the market for weight loss.
Way before.
So it should be noted, he did this the old-fashioned way. He first off, about 20 years ago, quit drinking. He went to rehab because he felt like he was using socializing as an excuse for drinking to the point where it was hurting his health. And then he also talked about changing his diet. He cut out sugar from his diet, and he was going on a dieting yo-yo as Roseanne was on the air. He said that he was losing weight every time that they came to the springtime every year to start filming, and then he would gain it all back. So that tends to be the case when you don't have the help of something like GLP-1 drugs. You have to change your habits and your lifestyle first, and that's what really matters. But still, people are saying this is a result of Ozempic and not natural weight loss and aging. he's 74 years old, so I think you're bound to look kind of saggy.
Yeah, like his face.
Age.
So I actually made the comment to you. I said, in his face, my dad is 80. And he looks like a little bit older version of my dad. Like my dad still looks very good for his age, given the fact that he's 80 years old. But the only difference here is that you're seeing such a dramatic difference because his face used to be pulled super tight because it was huge.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, the timeline here speaks for itself. I think I remembered him from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou in 2000. He was just as big as ever.
Okay, no, I literally pulled this picture up as a point of reference. This is from Coyote Ugly in 2000, and that is a circus tent he is basically wearing.
I think he said he was pushing like 400 pounds at his highest weight.
I rewatched the movie recently, and I swear, like when he would sit down in the chair that he had at home, it looked like it was going to break every time.
And he's still actively working. I'm sure not as frequently as he used to, but most recently he was in an HBO show called The Righteous Gemstones playing a televangelist. And even in the stills from that show, you can tell he had already started losing weight.
And he was on the Connors from 2018 to 2025. He's been working very consistently for a very long time.
But there are some claims to the contrary. They said, Goodman has not appeared on camera in a movie since 2019. This is a terrible post. If I saw John Goodman in real life, I wouldn't know who the hell he was. Can you seriously say you know who this skinny homeless guy is? He's completely changed his looks. He might say it was the best thing he's done for his health, but my standpoint being an occupational therapist in a nursing home, nope, you have completely not helped your health situation.
That person is either a liar or a psychopath. Okay.
I certainly hope he's not encouraging people
to be 400
under
pounds.
his care to be morbidly obese.
He wants you to die of a heart attack. This person apparently wants you to die of a heart attack at 50 years old, have knees that have to be replaced because you can't walk on them because you're carrying so much fucking weight, being depressed and all that. Like that's insane.
And another one of these responses who's running with the narrative that he used Ozempic to lose weight, even though obviously you can tell he started losing weight a long time ago. They say Ozempic faces and bodies are sallow and uncanny because the subject has not deliberately chosen to take the necessary sacrificial steps in a process normally required to lose weight, which entails a consistency that showcases itself as an act of self-love. It's also love for the people around you, that you can be on the earth for longer.
Yep.
People who lose weight with that healthy attentiveness to their bodies tend to glow. However, the Ozempic lab rats are using chemical force to numb their bodies of natural sensations, hunger pangs, in order to lose weight rapidly, which is a dismissive, destructive act of hatred against the self.
I mean,
so then it becomes this Faustian situation in which that self-hatred is easily translated into appearance and expression, making them look like dead-eyed corpses in spite of thinness. All pharmaceuticals are like this.
That was a very evocative,
creative writing exercise.
They are look, leaving out all of the flowery language in verbose in the verbose tone. It is true that choosing to go the Ozempic route is going to runs the risk of having very drastic side effects if you don't learn to actually pick up the good habits that you have to have along the way. Like in John Goodman has said that he does that for years he started getting exercise, he started working out, all of the things that you need to do on top of being able to curb your appetite on your own and not just doing it because of medication is, stopping the signals in your brain from working. There's a lot of self-discipline that is required to do that. And I think the fact that he's been doing this for over 15 years this process has been going on says that this was not something where you woke up one day and suddenly John Goodman was really thin. No, he's been doing this forever. You just have not looked at John Goodman in 15 years because you haven't watched The Righteous Gemstones. And when Roseanne left because she got fired, then The Connors came out. You weren't watching The Connors because it didn't have Roseanne in it, so you had no reason to look at John Goodman.
Right. I feel like people just have straight up Ozempic psychosis at this point.
It's
every person who loses weight is on Ozempic and looks like death.
Yep.
That's the narrative. Nobody can do it the right way and get the congratulation that they deserve anymore.
We are so attuned to a culture of shortcuts that feels like what it is for most people.
And like the crowd that praises Ozempic and refuses to criticize it for valid reasons is kind of giving the drug all of the credit for the benefits of weight loss, which already, were well known to the public and the medical community. So they're going to say Ozempic is drastically causing like heart disease rates to plummet. No, weight loss that results from Ozempic or other means is to credit for the decrease in, joint problems, heart disease, heart attacks, all of that stuff. And like, I guess if you need Ozempic to jumpstart you into weight loss, and then you can follow that up with the necessary lifestyle changes, that's fine. But
I've seen that from a lot of like the fitness influencers, the ones who deal with weight loss cases with like the people who are super obese, which is basically the idea that first of all, you lose more weight right away when you're really overweight, because any exercise you're going to start losing weight like instantly because it's so easy. You can still eat a crap ton every day and lose weight as long as you're also exercising. But they would talk about cases where they would say they would recommend people go on GLP-1s. Now, I was never like a massive person, but I just can't imagine needing it when all I did was like add steps to the day and like not eat candy at night and try to be disciplined. But obviously not everybody has the same path forward.
Yeah, and I also don't know what people are talking about when they say that he looks like a corpse. Like he looks like
old.
A pretty healthy guy with a lot of extra skin, and also the natural process of aging is taking place once you're in your 70s.
I mean, he's a little maniacal looking in this photo.
He looks fine though. Like he looks fine. Okay, I don't know what people are talking about.
Yep, I don't know what they want from the guy, but
a lot of the Ozempic discourse is just ageism, in my opinion.
And for him, it's like he's going to enjoy being alive longer. Yeah. Like at the size he was before, there is every possibility that he would have died years ago if he didn't get his weight under control.
So I don't think people care, or I don't think he should care what they're saying about him online.
All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. Cringe or cute?
Let's see the cringe first.
Okay. Oh, we got a crisis party. Hold, please. Let's get a second one, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't hear it, though.
It's going to go. Don't worry. I'm just...
Oh. Thank you.
All right. How bad is the cringe today?
This is the one that I saved on Friday because Friday's cringe was really bad, but... So this girl, I guess she paid for an advertisement or like a preview at the theater where her boyfriend was watching the Odyssey with his bros.
Okay, here we go.
Hey baby, no, we said no contact, no texting because it's a boys' night. I just wanted to say how proud I am of you for finding a crew of like-minded fellas who love spikeball as much as you do. You are killing it at adulting. This friendship thing at 34 isn't easy, but you make it look easy and awesome. So have an amazing time with the Odyssey. King Odysseus set sail for Ithaca, and you, my boyfriend, set sail for boys' night. I'll be outside, ready to pick you guys up.
That wasn't threatening at all.
It says hashtag satire on there. But, you know...
Wait, didn't you tell me about something that happened, like, that was identical to this, but it was for Spider-Man?
Did I?
I don't know.
Maybe
I thought you did.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
Sounds about right, you know? That was...
I think it was something that you mentioned about, like, The Dadvocate covered it.
Oh no, that was a girl who was pissed that her boyfriend went to see it without her, and then he was like, he's like, I'll just go with you a second time.
Yeah.
And she's like, and then he's gonna be like, oh, this part is great. Like, not only that, he's like a bad person to watch stuff with, where he's like, oh, you're gonna love this part. You know, it was wasn't good.
Well, that's what you do when he goes on a boys' night.
Yep, he goes to
send
the
in a
Odyssey.
message.
All right, this is from Greg Duvier. He says, how it started and how it's going. Lighten Cat Zorro, Darker Cat Gizmo. Oh,
They're so cute together.
Yes, they are. Let's see.
Is that a kitten? Oh, no, she just looked small.
Yep, that was good stuff. I like
Cute
it.
Friends.
Very cute. Thank you for submitting that, Greg. All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande, or her detractors, I'm not really sure, are now being blamed for a full-blown mental health crisis. And healthcare providers have now weighed in and said, we need to refrain from talking about Ariana Grande and her body online, or else we're going to be making this situation even worse, causing an epidemic of eating disorders in the country. NBC did a full report on this, that scrutiny surrounding Ariana Grande's body has been triggering individuals with eating disorders. Several healthcare providers said their clients have been overwhelmed with emotions, including fear and anger, as they watched thousands of people leave a mixture of worried and cruel comments about Grande's body. They say, after Ariana Grande released the music video for Petal last week and the internet lit up with criticism over how thin she looked, mental health clinicians say they have been inundated with calls from people struggling with eating disorders. So I guess it's all our fault for talking about the music video, not Ariana Grande's fault for designing, writing, and starring and releasing the music video.
Yes.
She isn't accountable at all for putting that out there. It's our fault for acknowledging and noticing that it happened. We're the ones who are to blame.
And the weird thing about it is that, like, it's not like it was simply she looks deathly thin and the art was just the same as it always was. She incorporated it into her art, which
that was the focal point of the video.
And
that was the entire point.
And she went to #1. So she got what they want her to both simultaneously get what she wants while shaming you.
Yes. This article says experts agree that it's best to skip comments on people's bodies, regardless of if they're meant to be positive or negative. Making comments about physical appearance has been so normalized in our society that it's hard for some to understand why this could be problematic and should be avoided. This is a quote from the Director of Education at the National Eating Disorders Association. She continues, "We cannot know what a person is going through physically or mentally by just looking at them. Commenting on someone's physical appearance can perpetuate issues such as negative body image, low self-esteem, body dissatisfaction that the person might already be dealing with." And even if... What?
The point they're making here, though, guys, is like even if all of that was true, she is still a public figure, which means that whether it's her body or the music she makes or anything she does is going to be, pushed back to public scrutiny. People are going to have something to say about it. And I don't think you can have it both ways. I don't think you get to be both somebody that makes art antagonizing the subject matter and expect nobody to have something to say. You can be unhappy with it. That's fine. At least the people, I'm not saying Ariana, I actually don't know if Ariana Grande actually cares. Like, I imagine she wants the discourse. Otherwise she wouldn't have done it. So
Absolutely.
like these other people can be upset, fine, but you're ignoring the elephant in the room, which is just reality.
Well, the point of the video is basically a catharsis for her. She is admitting through the music video that she has this violent fantasy about the people who criticize her and her appearance. And that she wants to publicly and very visibly destroy herself in order to get revenge on the people she feels have wronged her and said things that hurt her feelings. But they go on to say, even if Ariana Grande or other public figures don't hear your comments, those around you do. So that's why you should just shut up and ignore it. They say, hearing people commenting about celebrities continues to send out the message that it's okay to talk about and make assumptions based on physical appearance. This can be especially harmful for those who may struggle with body image or disordered eating, as this highlights the cultural norms that overvalue appearance, which we know is a risk factor in the development of eating disorders. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's not the woman with massive influence, high visibility, and hundreds of millions of dollars and all of the resources you could possibly imagine who bears any of the burden for what this is doing to young, impressionable fans. It's the people commenting on it and saying the obvious, which is that she needs help.
Yeah.
So we're the ones killing people, right? Like we're literally being cast as the villain in this narrative. And that's what has been so frustrating, and why I have repeatedly posted about this story, because what they're doing here is succumbing to her false narrative that she is putting out there. If you say something critical of her, mm-hmm. then you're killing her. That is the narrative that she's putting out there.
Which is about as coercive of a tactic as you could ever use.
Yeah, it's like a weird self-inflicted hostage situation. Mm-hmm. And it's a false narrative. It's not true. When someone hurts themselves, at the end of the day, that is their decision, even if their free will is compromised by mental illness or malnutrition. I mean, that is her decision. That is her response to unresolved issues within herself. Mm-hmm. People insulting you is just about the most basic, like, occupational hazard you can imagine for a pop star or celebrity or
her
actor.
Level of fame too. Like,
yeah.
You know, you're going to dominate the headlines anytime you put something out. And the sad thing is it feels like more and more this is where they find, now I'm not talking about her situation specifically, but it's always outside of the realm of their music that they find the most to talk about with people like this. The music matters, and their success obviously creates lots of headlines and stuff like that. But this is the stuff that elevates them to another higher status when they've become so important to the culture that whole news cycles shift because of something to do with them.
Now, some of Ariana Grande's critics are making the claim that Ariana or her team somehow paid off NBC and also the healthcare providers interviewed by NBC to release this article because it's from an angle that does not hold her accountable and still casts her as a victim. Mm. And I wouldn't totally discount that possibility. She definitely has a lot of sway and power and money, and I'm sure it could be used to promote beneficial coverage for herself and her public image, especially as she's about to supposedly step back from the public eye after this month concludes and her tour is done. You know, she is trying to shift the narrative in her favor and still be cast as the victim, and I'm just not buying it. Now, people are pissed at Bill Maher for making a joke about her and her appearance.
Can't make any jokes.
He made a joke about her weight during a Friday episode of Real Time, saying, the administration this week, just a few days ago, maybe yesterday, unleashed a new trove of UFO files. Interesting things in there. Triangular crafts, weird lights over an army base, a stick-like figure with large eyes. Oh, that was just an Ariana Grande video. Oh, please, no. We kid. Maybe that joke will make her eat something.
The second part is worse than the first part.
Bill Maher, always the edgelord, never willing to say something that's actually edgy. But see, this one time you can say this, okay, fine, that was distasteful, that was mean-spirited comment. But this one time, they're going to screenshot this and use it as ammunition against anybody who has a reasonable critique of her behavior and meaningful commentary on her influence.
Yep, and that's gonna continue on, because the other thing about it is the hardest way to get any type of traction within this realm is to be as hyperbolic as possible, right? So the thing is like, you can have a nuanced discussion. I would like to think that me and you, for the most part, we do have fairly nuanced discussions about the things that we talk about. That doesn't mean that that's the easiest thing in the world to do, because a lot of times you got to make a thumbnail that's a little bit edgy. You got to make you got to do, the title has to be a little bit edgy. You have to find a way to get eyeballs on it, because that's just the name of the game with what you do. But that does not mean that they have a right to quash people from trying to have some type of, even if it's not reasonable, to be perfectly honest. Like, if people want to have a hyperbolic, ridiculous discussion about her that's way off the reservation, that's also on the table, because she's a public figure, and that's just the way it happens.
And Ariana Grande's hands are not clean in that regard. Like, she is doing, like, even the thumbnail for her music video is a still of her covered in blood from head to toe. Mm-hmm. Like, she knows what clickbait is, and she engages in it shamelessly and doesn't get the same backlash as people commenting on her behavior. I'll tell you what is triggering. The imagery that she is putting out there on her public platforms is more triggering than anybody commenting on what they're seeing. That's the reality. It's just not safe to point it out, I guess. It's not acceptable to make that point. And I totally object to this false framing that they're putting forth here.
All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. Will Gluck. Yes, that is his real name.
So we recently talked about this new rom-com called One Night Only. It's basically The Purge, but for premarital sex. It's only legal for one night a year. And the director, Will Gluck, who also directed Anyone But You, is now speaking out about removing nudity and graphic sexuality from the final cut of the movie due to test screenings where it made people uncomfortable, especially Gen Z, Gen Alpha viewers. So Variety interviewed him about this decision, and I'll go through part of this article first, because they're fixated on the premise more so than anything. They say he's aware that the movie's setup is sparking more questions than answers. Why does the ban exist in the first place? What happens to people who break the law? How exactly is the government even tracking who's getting it on? He maintains the particulars of this reality are not really the point. You can't really describe this movie. The cast goes on talk shows and spends 80% of the time explaining the rules of the world, and that's not what the movie is about. We just have to let people see it. That's the best tool we have, especially for something that's this crazy.
This is actually, usually a side effect of bad storytelling, though. So, look, there's two realms here that could both be true. Bad storytelling means that people are focused on innocuous details that seemingly don't matter. Or bad storytelling, the innocuous details really do matter and you did not accurately portray them. I feel like you could get away with not explaining the innocuous details about why the ban exists and all this stuff if the chemistry was really good and the story gets going right away and you're enamored with them together in the movie and you kind of get lost in the world and you don't stop to think, well, why is this even happening? But in lieu of that great chemistry, people are going to have questions. They're going to, if you're 20 minutes in and it's just a bore, you're like, wait, so why can't anybody have sex? Like, I'm confused.
Right. Well, he's using the premise as the best marketing tool for the movie. And he calls this a new subgenre of romantic comedy called the wom-com, standing for word of mouth. Because the premise is what gets people talking about the concept to begin with, and it piques their curiosity to go see it. So he said, in response to this question, what conversations did you have about the origin of the no sex mandate? He said, someone asked me, why don't people just get divorced? Well, there's municipal signage very prominently. You can see that you cannot get divorced unless you were married for 1 year plus 1 day.
Wait,
it's like when COVID
municipal
started.
Signage? Like outside?
Yes.
Like there's road signs?
Yes.
What?
And posters, advertisements. They did everything practical, nothing was edited in post. They created all this signage throughout the movie. So he's gone to great lengths to create this world. And they say recent studies have found Gen Z and Gen Alpha don't want to see sex on screen. Was that a concern while making this movie? He says the answer is 100% yes. I went through this on 2 movies. I have long pages of empirical data about it. The only thing is, I don't think it's just Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I believe it's been a societal shift from taking nudity in adult situations and putting them on your phones at home for everybody. Now it's more of a private, intimate thing that people don't want to see when they're in a shared experience.
Okay.
Whenever people now see nudity or very adult situations in a big theater, they get uncomfortable.
So I wasn't alive in the 70s and I was born in the 80s, right? So I don't know what's going on at the theater. I don't know if I've ever been to... No, I saw Oppenheimer and that had nudity in it.
I mean, I was uncomfortable, but I can only speak for myself.
Like, and that wasn't even really like a sex scene per se. It was like,
I mean, it was.
Like I just feel like it's being overthought, which is like, oh, crazy. People don't want to sit in a room full of strangers and see people having fake sex.
But that's more true than it used to be. And I think he's right to say online pornography being accessible to everyone now in their pocket is a huge part of the reason why that people are more uncomfortable seeing sex on screen than they ever have been. Mm-hmm. And you would think it's self-explanatory. Like, of course you wouldn't want to be in a room full of people watching people have sex on a screen, but it wasn't just, it wasn't a given until the mass adoption of smartphones and all of the debauchery that comes with that. So he was right to pinpoint that as kind of the reason why people are uncomfortable with it now. And that is not exclusive just to Gen Z or Gen Alpha. But they ask him, how does that change your approach as a filmmaker? He said, once I learned that, which was all through the editing process for my last movie, I applied it to this one. Even so, I didn't apply it enough. I cut out so much. There was so much nudity in this movie that we shot on the streets. I felt we needed to show the world that way. As we started to show it to audiences, we felt it takes you out of the movie. You're engaged in the characters and what's going on, and then you pan over and there's 2 naked people having sex, and you watch the audience. It's a physical thing. They turn to who they're with, and the benefits do not nearly outweigh the negatives. So we just kept editing it out until we got a balance and those comments went away. So they also mentioned that they had an intimacy coordinator. They ended up casting a lot of real life couples for any physicality that was featured in the movie, so it didn't seem as awkward or inorganic.
Oh, that's so. See what they used to do back in the day, guys, when they were making True Detective season 1, they just hired porn stars. Because they're like, sweet nudity, we can do that, sure.
I was half planning on seeing this movie over the weekend, and I didn't end up doing it. I probably will see it before it's out of theaters, but I wanted to see some more information come out about it before I made the decision to see it, because it's so hard to tell what people mean by graphic these days. Like, everyone has a different bar for what they consider over the top sexuality in a movie. So I'll tell you what is actually in it according to a review, a Parent's Guide review. They say it does feature, obviously, a lot of discussion about sex. And the instant that the sex ban is lifted, couples all over the city begin expressing lustful desires. Scores of people are seen in varying states of undress, kissing and groping one another. Some engage in sex, even in public. And though many of the critical elements are obscured, suggestive movements and sounds still make it on screen. Nudity makes several appearances. The camera lingers on naked backsides of 2 men, female as well, but through underwear.
Well, yeah, because the male gaze is a thing. So you can see the men naked, but you can't see the women naked, because that would be misogynistic.
Brief flashes of breast nudity. Even when nudity is not explicitly present, we still see a lot of skin. People are wearing nothing but undergarments for a lot of the scenes. A topless woman runs from police in her underwear. while covering her breasts. Those women who are dressed are often wearing revealing clothing, including Allie, the protagonist. And there is a news report that shows footage of people having sex, including in groups, with critical bits blurred. So this is all in the movie, in the final cut, after he says that he cut out like 90% of the sexuality in the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's still like, it sounds still super over the top compared to what, you know, focus groups would tell you is preferred. Yep. And still people are responding to this with outrage. One person said, MFer let a spreadsheet decide whether his movie should have sex, and now I don't get to see Monica Barbaro's boobs. Like, they're personally offended.
They are.
By his decision, which is purely analytical and in an effort to get as many people to see his movie as possible, which is supposed to be your mission if you're the director of the movie.
I do think there's something funny about the one that said the concept of a film where you can only have sex on one day every year without a single sex scene. That is at least funny in the interim. Like, when you're getting into like the post-production process and you're doing test screenings and you find out that your movie about sex doesn't like benefit from having sex in it, and you're like, crap.
Yeah, so they had to let a lot of things go on the cutting room floor. But if we're going to armchair about Gen Z's discomfort with sex scenes, why not just really cut to the heart of the issue? And I think that Will Gluck also said this pretty aptly without making a value judgment on pornography. But one of these responses said the same thing in a way that is maybe from a more conservative perspective. The rejection of sex scenes in movies has nothing to do with modesty or chastity. It's the direct result of minds fried by endless online porn. After being relentlessly conditioned to reduce sex to a mindless physical transaction or for personal gratification, the idea of it as an intimate expression of love starts to feel alien, and it makes this generation uncomfortable. Another one blamed Me Too and Harvey Weinstein, saying Gen Z has a weird mindset that every nude or sex scene in film is akin to rape, as if the women in the movie are being forced against their will. They have a weird hostility toward heterosexual affection. And they say, I don't think we have really come to grasp with what years of unfettered feminist and LGBT propaganda has done to the minds of the younger generation. That also prompted this meme that came out back when the Odyssey came out in theaters. It's still of Odysseus as he is tied up to the ship. They're passing the sirens, and it says Gen Z when they see sex scenes in a movie. And this prompted like the usual debate, like, is there ever a necessary sex scene? Is that even a thing? Can we think of one example that a sex scene was actually necessary for the plot?
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
I don't think it exists. I don't think it's possible, because in every situation where you could argue that a sex scene is necessary to the story, an implication would have sufficed.
Yeah, that's all it requires is minor changes in delivery and editing. And you can do, the common idea that they use for horror movies, which is like, your mind can create horrors that will never be possible to show on screen. Like, you'll always be able to use your imagination to make something worse. And yeah. I would imagine that you could do the same thing here, only in the other direction, which is that you yourself, if you want to go that way, I guess, I don't know who's thinking that long about it, but, can use it to think of something perhaps more romantic than needs to be shown on screen.
One of the replies said, it's not the loss of the sex scene. Those should be key if you're going to depict them, but the general abandonment of eroticism as a component of storytelling at all. And someone said a good example of this is in Top Gun. The Top Gun sex scene was a watershed moment. It's all people talked about after it came out. a tough guy action movie with a hyper-sensual sex scene that got millions of women in the 80s to see it and made Tom Cruise a sex symbol. Now, I don't know if I've ever even watched Top Gun all the way through. And if I have,
it was there.
It's been way too long for me to remember it. So is it a full-blown sex scene the way that people refer to it these days?
Not
or
the
is
way
it more like
I don't remember, but it was definitely not the way you think of it these
shots
days.
spliced together showing certain body parts but not everything, and with the music?
Somebody in the chat,
is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it's been a very long time since I've seen the original Top Gun, so it feels like I remember it being more like that, but I could be misremembering it. Somebody in the chat will know.
Like, that's what I would expect from a sex scene in the 80s. And when you're referring to that, it's not even on the same level whatsoever. Like, when people refer to a sex scene now, we're talking about just full-on pornography on TV.
I vaguely remember it being very tasteful, timed to music, but maybe I'm misremembering it.
But then compare that to the, well, I guess, lack of a sex scene in the sequel in Top Gun Maverick. They literally just fade to black after they, like, start kissing.
Yep.
And that is demonstrative of the times that we live in. You know, people don't want to see this anymore because it is so accessible.
Yep. All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. Zendaya, Sadie Sink, it's all going on.
There is some drama, apparently, between the stars of Spider-Man Brand New Day that was featured on the red carpet. One of these awkward moments took place between Jon Bernthal and Sadie Sink on the red carpet, where she is on the edge of their group photo. Jon Bernthal is pictured not grabbing her arm in the group photo. He's instead putting a closed fist on her elbow. And it's kind of an equivalent to the hover hand without actually hover handing.
That Keanu Reeves is so famous for.
Yeah, it's giving Keanu Reeves vibes. But one of the replies here said, "We're a society where people are praised for being visibly terrified of platonic touch."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is giving more creepy vibes than if he just decided to take a normal group photo. Like, you could just grab someone's arm and it's not that big of a deal.
Which is hilarious because it's like the opposite end of the spectrum of the things where it's like if there's two male characters in a show and they're friends, like the weirdos on the internet are like, oh, they're definitely fucking. Like,
yeah, I don't think anyone would have said that if Jon Bernthal just like took a photo like a normal person. But
I don't think so either.
What people cannot be normal about is a showman's love triangle. And I think they're creating this narrative out of thin air. The idea is that Zendaya is so possessive of Tom Holland that he cannot interact in any professional way with his female colleagues, Sadie Sink included. This video went viral. It's captioned, "Zendaya gets jealous after Tom Holland stands next to Sadie Sink and realizes he picked the wrong one."
I want to point out to everybody that I've often said on this channel that it is not just the writers that are the storytellers in a movie. It's not just the actors that are the storytellers. The people who light the movie are storytellers. And indeed, the people who edit a movie are storytellers. And that doesn't just go for film. That goes for narrative design when it comes to any clip you want to post. So let's, and to be fair, this thing got community noted. It says, This clip has been heavily edited. In the original video, Tom Holland wipes his mouth while preparing for the group photo, with Zendaya looking at the director, who is cropped out of the edited clip. So let's watch.
She's looking pensive. She's shooting mean mugging Sadie Sink over there on the other side of the room.
Even right
she
look
defiantly flips her hair, and Tom Holland is like, "Oh, her shampoo so good."
In slow motion. Don't forget that in slow motion.
Yeah. Zoom ins, the slow mo.
Her eyes blinking slowly.
Yeah, and he's scared that Zendaya is gonna slap him upside the head when they get home.
Yep. Because
he stood next to Sadie Sink instead of his wife.
I mean, this is the same reason why body language experts are bullshit.
I don't think it's all bullshit. Like, obviously, you can tell a lot about how a person feels based on their body language rather than just the words they say, but a lot of it is because of highly edited, deceptive content like this.
Yep.
And they say Zendaya and Tom Holland, their co-star Sadie Sink, attended the LA premiere where they posed together for photographers without any reported signs of tension or discomfort. There are no accounts or reports or official coverage suggesting that Zendaya appeared jealous or that the actors experienced relationship issues during the event.
We've got two 20s here. I'm sorry. I missed the first one here from Not That Jon Stewart. Says, Top Gun is PG or PG-13. It's not a sex scene as we would think of it today.
Definitely not. I don't think it's even on the same plane.
And Not That Jon Stewart says, what the F is Zendaya's hairdo? Yeah, that is another question. I forget who it was earlier. Said,
yeah.
I think it's supposed to be spider webs, but I don't know.
They took like Vaseline and like just slapped it on her forehead and brushed her bangs down onto her face to look like spider webs or something.
That's what I thought it was.
But in a similar vein, another engagement bait account posted a highly edited video of Tom Holland awkwardly interacting with a lot of his female co-stars over the years, including Anne Hathaway. And then they compare how Zendaya interacts with her male co-stars.
Okay. This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go, guys. Muting it.
She's like, you're not allowed to hug Florence Pugh, bitch. And he's like, oh no, Zendaya's going to beat me when we get home later.
The zoom in with the like, and again, there's a point here. Those like question marks there, that plays a role, and you don't even realize what it's doing to your brain if you're watching this and watching innocuous interactions. And
then there's another clip after this where he gives this female co-star a kiss on the cheek. Zendaya is, you know, they're doing the slow-mo and the zoom in and the filter. She's seething, absolutely seething. And Tom Holland is like, ooh, she's gonna get me. I'm in the doghouse. And then he is politely hugging Anne Hathaway, who is visibly about to pop. And he's like, oh no, Zendaya, I hope she didn't see that. And then you have all these other clips where Zendaya is being the loyal, faithful wife, refusing to even touch other men.
That could be because she's a feminist. She does not need no man. What, like, look, is this like, what is it, like Hanlon's law is like never attribute to malice, which is more easily attributed to stupidity. In this case, like never attribute to marital strife, which is more easily attributed to feminism.
So true.
Or they're the same thing. Maybe.
Like, I don't need help getting up the stairs in my gown, you misogynist pig. I am an independent woman. So the captions are really telling the story. There's not that much to it. Like, he's jealous that she fist bumped somebody.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm sorry. I'm not really buying it.
Yeah.
People want to tear them apart so badly, though.
They do, and I think
there's such a hatred for Zendaya.
And I think part of it is because they don't like talk about it a lot. Like,
yeah,
for the
and
most
they had
part, the privacy probably infuriates these people.
Exactly, because they're not giving them any ammunition. Yep. They had like the private wedding with only family, no press. They don't talk about their relationship at length in the public eye. Even when they're asked about it, they expertly skirt around the questions because they value their own privacy and their relationship integrity. But, you know, there is just no limit to the engagement bait anymore. The people just shamelessly make up stories out of whole cloth. Like, there is no relationship with the truth when it comes to posts like this.
It doesn't matter anymore. It does not matter.
You sent me this one about Zendaya. There was a fake interview where she was asked about having kids with Tom Holland, and this was her fake response.
Wait.
The reporter asked her, have you ever thought about having kids with your husband, Tom Holland? As if anyone would even word the question like that. They would never even ask that question. But Zendaya allegedly said, We both agreed never to have kids, even though he got upset when I made that clear to him. He actually understood because my career comes first, and I am at the peak of my career right now, and I don't want anything or even kids to distract me.
Like, nobody believes that you actually said that. And here's the thing. They also always, we have another one here from Sydney Sweeney where they do something similar, where they include an interview clip that says that doesn't say anything that is written on the text, because they know most people just read the text and don't watch the interview.
Right. But they went further. The reporter asks, well, how do you think that Tom will feel about this decision, even though he had no choice but to agree? Zendaya says, I think my happiness comes first no matter what. And he knows that. Maybe we could adopt children when we're both older toward the end of our careers, but for now, this is my decision. And I'm sure he's going to get used to it.
Again, nobody believes that somebody actually talks like that.
Even if that were like the reality behind the scenes, it's not like anybody would actually explain it to a stranger. And this one as well is in the same exact vein, trying to poke at the bear, get the gender slop discourse going. Again, a clip of Sydney Sweeney that has nothing to do with the caption. They say she was asked about when she plans to settle down and start a family with Scooter Braun. Sydney Sweeney says bluntly, I'm not interested in babies. I just don't like them. The crying, the diapers, the whole newborn phase. It's not for me. If I ever decide to have a kid, I'm adopting an already grown one. Someone who can already talk, walk, and tell me what they want for dinner. No bottles, no midnight feedings, just a real person who already exists. People act like there's only one way to do this. There's not. I love kids when they're older and have personalities. The baby stage, hard pass.
Props to whoever wrote that. As far as
AI wrote it.
As far as engagement baiting lies go, that is my new favorite.
There is just no decorum anymore. Like, they don't even care about making the slop believable at this point, because people will just take this and run with it.
Yep, they don't care. It was hilarious. The Sydney Sweeney one's my favorite because she's like in a group interview, so I'm picturing her saying this in like a group of people.
Commandeers the whole press tour to talk about how much she hates babies.
Like, all right, thanks guys, but fuck them kids. That's what she said.
And I'm pretty sure all of the interaction with a post like this, or at least 90% of it, is other bots.
Yep.
It's just all money laundering. And it really proves that we are suffering from a lack of good storytelling these days when this is its substitute.
Yeah.
Like, we're living in a poverty of fiction, I think. And that's why people entertain themselves by spinning fake tales about real people.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to Super Chats then. Let's hang out.
Okay. We got a 20, didn't we?
I got the 20s. I got
the
20s. We're down to Shane H. Wilder.
Cool. Shane H. Wilder said, I need to try some of these, except black cherry. That tastes like cough syrup. I can't do mint. They always throw off the flavor of foods/drinks. I agree. I don't know why the mint ones are the most popular because, if you want mint, like, you can get gum, but I get the other flavors exclusively.
Yeah.
Coffee also, the coffee flavor tastes like I don't know what it tastes like, but it does not taste like coffee, and it smells like cough medicine as well.
Do specific flavors like not pair well with like certain foods and drinks?
Yes. I have like a system now in place. So it's cinnamon zin with coffee or tea only. Or, I don't know. I think that's it. And then I have something citrusy with like sparkling water.
That makes sense.
Or like Gatorade or like a cocktail.
That makes sense.
Also, I never drink without zinning at the same time. That's just not something I do.
Okay.
Corey Anderson said, I got your back, Brett FTW.
I haven't heard For the Win in a very long time. But thank you.
For the win.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I want people to bring back the Irma Gerd memes.
Oh my god.
I just was like, I don't know why. I just went down this rabbit hole recently about the Irma Gerd meme. They did a whole interview with the chick in the photo. And she was like acting like this ruined her life or something, even though it was like a photo from when she was like 11 and it doesn't even look like her. But she was like, yeah, it's just like it comes up at every party and people just like look up the memes and talk about it for like 20 minutes. And, you know, they don't really understand like what that did to me. I was like being made fun of or something like online by a bunch of strangers who don't even care about my feelings.
So, I mean, are they really recognizing you all those years later?
No. It's probably just because she's bringing it up and then getting mad at people for reacting. But I guess that was in the days before you could turn a meme into a career. She could have been Hawk Tuah if it happened 20 years later, but
yeah, now you can parlay it into success elsewhere.
Yeah. Weary Traveler said, Curry Barker said in an interview he named the character Bear because it was memorable. Nothing to do with the meme.
That's fantastic.
That's a happy coincidence. I find it hard to believe that he didn't see the meme before, though.
That's even better, too, because if it was because of the meme... Or you know what? The better version of this here is that Curry Barker knew about the meme, but then didn't include it in the movie because he knew it would be topical and dated by the time it came out, which shows a fantastic amount of artistic restraint.
It is a meme that people bring up, like, unexpectedly often, though. Like, I know we covered it on the channel back when it was trending, but I see it get brought up quite a lot.
Yeah.
Nowadays. I don't know why it stuck with people so much. Robert Delara said, Bella Ramsey is a tomboy. She just wears expensive tomboy clothes. Yeah, if only that were a good enough explanation, right? Like, you just don't like wearing dresses. Okay, no big deal.
Yep.
Why does it have to be your entire identity? Shane H. Wilder said, we were told it's not if you get hit in a haunted house, it is when. My favorite scare, a dude who fell down only to try to breakdance to play it off.
Oh, that's amazing.
Whoa. The aura form is crazy. I mean, if I could breakdance, I would probably breakdance at inopportune moments.
The idea that he would like, it's like the meme of the, have you ever seen the ones where the guy gets kicked off the back of the horse because he tries to jump on and it like rockets him and then they start AIing him into like other things and stuff like that? That's kind of what that is, where he's trying to play it cool.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Maybe I should do, you know what? I think this might actually be my retirement plan.
Breakdancing?
I'm gonna become a haunted house actor. I would have fun with that. I don't think I would have fun on the other side, like getting scared by people.
Yeah.
But I would have fun as one of the actors. The Greek Heel said, no such thing as trans kids and definitely no such thing as non-binary. Even if you're asexual, not bi, straight, or gay, you're still your birth gender. Deal with it, Bella. We'll make sure to forward that strongly worded message directly to Bella Ramsey's PR team. And I'm sure she'll straighten things out as soon as she hears from you. Katie said, hi, Brett and Mary. I am thankful for PCC being on tonight as I am in the early hours of the 4th anniversary of my dad's death. So thanks. Of course, we appreciate you tuning in and we're glad that we can be a somewhat positive distraction.
I would like to think that we are somewhat positive.
Shane H. Wilder said, Goodman was already looking healthier in Righteous Gemstones, which was a great show. I think you both would like it. It was funny as hell.
I think...
yeah, it sounded interesting.
I think Neon from Clownfish TV recommended it at some point online or in like a video, but I don't remember correctly.
Well, it's about a mega church and John Goodman and his wife, they play televangelists in the show. Sounds interesting. Although, kind of falls into the stereotype that Christian characters have to be evil.
I mean, that's most of them, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're kind of... not most of them, but like you're more likely to find a generic evil of Christian origin than you are, other religions.
Interesting that came up because that was in The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. what was it? Like the Christian preacher who ends up being an evil cannibal cult leader.
Plus, it doesn't matter because look what happens when Run, Hide, Fight Infidels trailer comes out and you try to portray another religion in a not so peaceful way. People get very upset.
Okay, so after we watched the teaser trailer when that came out, but now that you've seen the full trailer, I haven't seen it, by the way. Does it seem more promising than
well look
you did before?
I don't know what the I felt like it was too on the nose. Like the trailer itself was too on the nose. It goes literally right into religious extremism as it relates to what's happening on campus. I was hoping for more of like a secondary hook is related to the characters. So they're like, oh, I forget his character. I don't know his character's name. It's Jonathan Majors. He was an ex-Delta Force guy. He's coming to the campus to give a talk. And I was hoping for something like, you know, he's got a daughter. Maybe his daughter goes to school there. Might be a little bit of a coinky dink. You know, he's estranged from his daughter and he hasn't seen her in a while and he wants to see her. I was looking for some type of emotional relationship or connection beyond just he comes to a college campus to talk about the dangers of you know, Islam and religious extremism, and then suddenly an Islamic attack happens. I was kind of hoping for more than that.
Crazy timing.
I know.
On that
that's
one.
it's like it feels like it's all kind of happening at the same time. Now, of course, maybe it happens differently in the movie, but that's the way it's framed in the trailer. Now, it's shot really, really well, and I think that Jonathan Majors actually kind of proves the point that he is a very talented actor because of all the stuff in the trailer. He makes the stuff on screen the most believable when he's delivering his lines. But
Sure.
I do admit that these types of movies, especially in 2026. So look, you guys know, I say it all the time. One of the many things that we lost in the last 10 to 15 years is great neoliberal war propaganda. I think it's one of the things our country did very, very well through Hollywood. And I miss it, if I'm being completely honest. But I always did wonder back in the day how actors, now they weren't obviously necessarily actors that followed Islam or Muslims, but actors who could pass for somebody who looks of that, you know,
Middle East
of that. Yeah, exactly. I always wondered how those actors who took those roles felt about doing that in the time. Now, I don't think they thought much of it back then because it just was a different time. But seeing actors doing it in 2026 is very different. Like asking an actor to do that now is you know, you run the risk of an actor being like, I don't want to be stereotyped. And they would say that back in the day. And I do give Hollywood a lot of credit. And I think people would hate me saying this. Is like, I don't think they went out of their way to make Muslims look evil. In fact, I think they went out of their way to try to show you the difference between radical Islam and people who the however many billion peaceful practicing Muslims that they always talk about all the time. And I felt like Hollywood went out of their way to show them as separate entities. So I felt like the actors probably felt a little bit better about taking those roles back then. And I don't remember, I could give you 3 or 4 actors who like literally that was their job. Like just like Oded Fehr's job was to play in a Mossad agent and everything. There was also those who played, is it like Omid? I forget his last name. He was in everything, and he was always playing. It felt like he was always playing some type of Muslim extremist. Like, how did he feel about it? He grew up in California. Like,
did you ever watch Four Lions?
Mm-mm.
That was like a black comedy about Islamist terrorists plotting a suicide attack.
Okay.
In the UK, and it does a really good job of. Well, it's been a long time since I've watched it, but I think it did a really good job of humanizing them and kind of making fun of them at the same time.
Omid Abtahi. He's played like it says he was born in Iran.
Oh, okay.
But he did. I'm assuming he didn't grow up
I
there.
could be wrong, but I think. Okay, so you know how there's that scene in Citizen Vigilante where at the end he slays the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if that's a spoiler for any of you who are hoping to see it. I'm pretty sure I saw something about those actors being Israeli in real life.
That's interesting.
Hence, they wouldn't have any sort of feelings of like moral contradiction.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because, they look, vaguely Middle Eastern enough to play those roles, but at the same time have every bias to try to portray them as evil, maniacal, one-dimensional villains.
Correct.
Not that I think Hollywood did that. I don't think that that's a kindness that would ever be reciprocated.
No, and I truly don't. And people always love my like anecdotes about NCIS. And while there is some of that in there, a great majority of it was showing U.S. forces in the Middle East dealing with locals who were very much peaceful, and then separating them from whether it was Al Qaeda or any other group, right? Like there's episodes dealing with Boko Haram in the Middle East. Like you get what I'm saying. Like they went out of their way, but that's what I'm talking about. There's a reason why that propaganda goes down easier, and I feel like Daily Wire could do to kind of take some lessons there. If you're looking to make your propaganda land, I feel like you could take some notes.
But at the end of the movie, he rescues his daughter, and she's like, "Dad, I don't know why I let all of my feminist LGBT professors tell me to hate you. See, I want to drop out and become a trad wife."
That's I who wouldn't want to watch that movie, ladies and gentlemen?
It's perfect.
Exactly.
Pop Culture Junkie said, regarding Goodman, based on my own experience, 65-pound loss in 6 years. If you go slow, you are not inclined to relapse. Been the same weight for 3 years.
Yeah, and building up good habits is a huge part of that as well. Is like, you know what makes it easier? If you start enjoying physical activity and enjoying getting exercise. It goes beyond like, I need to do this so that I can lose weight, to saying, I feel kind of crappy if I don't go. Like people people who go to the gym are that way. That's how I feel about skating. If I don't get out and skate on a regular basis, I feel worse as a person, and that's now translated to running. And it's not always running. It's walking too. It's like if I don't go out and get some activity tonight, to the point where I have to come home and feel like, and I don't get to come home and feel like I've exercised, I feel worse off, and it's got nothing to do with how I look and everything to do with how I feel.
I imagine it would let you actually enjoy food more over time as well, if you're not turning to it for a coping mechanism.
Yep.
And people can do hard things. This shouldn't be such an alien concept. Robert Delara said, so the problem is calling out Ariana Grande's weight is worse than the problem. Isn't the first step of solving a problem admitting that there is one?
Owned with facts and logic.
Point. Unfortunately, that does mean that you are evil and causing a public health crisis. Eazy-E said, celebrities glorifying their illness was once called harmful to their fans. Today, those fans saying we don't like this is harmful to the celebrity? It's giving Toxic X, which is on brand for her. Yep, it can never be her fault. Anytime that she does something wrong, it's your fault for noticing. Corey Anderson said Gen Z and Gen Alpha would make Tobias Funke proud. Thank you. How many Gen Alpha and Gen Z never news are there? Dozens, I'm sure.
Say that again.
Have you watched Arrested Development?
No.
Yeah, Tobias is a never nude, and it's exactly what it sounds like.
I'll give you another example of Hollywood doing this in a way that softens it when it comes to Islam and Muslims. In NCIS LA, LL Cool J's character is a devout Muslim. It literally like never comes up, at least in the 10 seasons that I watched. Like it comes up.
Does he pray in the show?
I never saw him pray in the show, but the point is it's mentioned many times that he's both an American, he was a Navy SEAL, he loves this country, but also he's a devout Muslim. So there you have it.
If you ask me, I think the only...
Oh, they say there are scenes where he visibly prays. Maybe I just missed them. But yeah.
The only portrayal of a peaceful, assimilated Western Muslim is that of, truthfully, a non-practicing Muslim who is not, following the religion they profess to its full extent. I mean, it's a war religion. You know, there are not permissions for allegiance to any non-Islamic theocracy that you may belong to. Like, that's, I don't know. I just feel like it's still not really, it's missing the point. Pop Culture Junkie said, One Night Only has bits of political satire and fires subtle shots at the religious right and how big tech makes money implementing the no sex mandate. I know they had like product placement in the movie with a lot of fake advertisements surrounding the sex purge. And it was really hard to get permission, they said, to use those brands. Obviously they got, you know, product placement for condoms. Dunkin' Donuts was another one of them. I think Equinox as well.
The thing is, these days now, one thing they don't tell you is they can do those ads in post. Like they can just CGI.
Well, he claims that they were all practical.
I mean, maybe they do, but like
I don't know. But
I remember when I tried to watch that shit show Citadel, and there was like, I think it was like Dunkin' Donuts, or I don't remember what it was, but it was the most fake looking like cup on top of a kitchen table that I'd ever seen.
Yeah, you're not good at subtle. As for taking shots at the religious right, that makes total sense coming from Will Gluck. Is he not the director of Bros?
No, that was
Billy Eichner.
Billy Eichner.
Right.
Or was he just an actor in it? I thought he directed it, but I could be wrong about that.
I think so. I think he directed. But anyway, I mean, he's implying in the interview that, you know, it's not that crazy of a premise that, you know, could be our future. That premarital sex is outlawed. It's like this Handmaid's Tale version of the world that they live in.
So I also want to point out, I'll never be able to find the clip of it until I rewatch the show. There's a show called The Glades that I loved. It wasn't great, but it was, you know, an average or below average procedural in 2012 was still better than most of the stuff that comes out today. And there's this one scene where like the tech nerd, he's like eating a bag of like M&Ms, and then he just is conspicuously holding it up to his chest while people are talking.
But with both hands?
With the logo, because it's like one of the resealable bags.
Oh,
and he's just holding it like this while somebody's talking to him, and the shot lingers on him just a bit too long.
I'm rewatching. Okay, first of all, this is one reason why I like period pieces and period dramas, because you can't do product placement in them. But they actually did have an opportunity to do product placement for Goodyear in Downton Abbey.
Ow.
That was the only one, because it's an old enough brand, I guess, that
so
would
like,
have existed.
So like what other companies go back that far? Coca-Cola? Like Coca-Cola goes back pretty far.
Yes. Yeah. And then, okay, I'm rewatching Gossip Girl right now, which is really egregious with the product placement. And like, they have a whole conversation about how much they love Guitar Hero.
I mean, this happened in Chuck all the time. There would be shameless Subway ads. The same thing would happen in Hawaii Five-0. Shameless Subway ads in like every episode. Burn Notice would have Hyundai car ads in like every. Those are my favorite. Are the car ads where they're like.
Well, they only drove one. I forget which car it was in Hawaii Five-0, the reboot. I mean, they only drove like one specific brand of car, but I don't remember what it was now.
Yeah, but like
Chevy.
So they would do the thing where like for some reason Fiona would be talking about the features of the Hyundai she's driving while they're going, and at one point they did a really good job of mixing in where Michael, because he would do the voiceovers, it was worked into his voiceover in a way. Very clever.
Shane H. Wilder said, it sounds pornographic, and this is after cutting 90% of the nudity and sex. I mean, the director's name sounds like a corn director, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, I was considering watching it, but now that I read the summary, I'm like, do I really want to see all that? Like, maybe they're overstating it. I don't know.
There was a whole article written about Amazon Prime Video's spy drama Citadel forms a new frontier in product placement.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson said nudity is in the Crying Game was necessary. I've never seen that. Not that. John Stewart said Top Gun. Oh, I think that was the 20 that you read earlier. Never mind. Easy E said he's trying to boost director's cut DVD sales.
Get the Gluck cut.
Oh no. Oh no. Robert Delara said, I read that LeVar Burton is in One Night Only. Who was in charge of the casting? The Reading Rainbow guy is getting parts now.
He's a real actor. He's a real actor. So did anybody ever see the show Perception with Eric McCormack? He played the chancellor of the college that he teaches at in that show, and he's pretty good.
They also put Maya Hawke in One Night Only. I don't know why.
She's just there.
Ramalama Ding Dong said the enemy in Obsession isn't Bear. It is whoever is producing those god-awful sticks that grant your wish in the most effed up way possible. I think you're reading a little bit too much into the premise there as well, because it's like that's a question that's never answered, you know? But I think it's pretty evident that Bear is a villainous character. That is the intent behind how events unfold. Genghis Khan of Gongolia said, it's funny to me The Simpsons never had a chance to be rebooted because they were never canceled. LOL.
That is true.
Yeah. It's like, pick your poison. Greg Duvier said the first photo was of Zorro as a kitten, and the second photo is of Zorro and Gizmo 7 years later. Okay, that makes much more sense now.
Amazing.
But they're in the same chair. That's their spot.
That's their spot.
Burned Oils said, wise of Sydney Sweeney to know it's not for her to have kids instead of being a bad parent. Mary on verge of being 30, still no kids, BTW.
But he's completely ignoring the fact that it wasn't real.
You know what? Sure. Just go with that narrative. Shane H. Wilder said, meme fact, the why are you gay guy is on IG and posts riffs on the meme and Catholic stuff. I didn't know he was Catholic. That's cool. We need more lore on him.
I do like it when an actor or like somebody who's not like a big time actor and they have like a role in like one thing that matters and they kind of make that part of their identity online. You
don't like that?
No, I do like that because usually they're doing other stuff too. I was literally watching, and this is true of multiple people. My favorite example, but it's not a one-to-one, is the actor who it's like Noel Guglielmi, I forget how to pronounce his last name, who played Hector in The Fast and the Furious. And he's played Hector 15 times in his life. He's played a character named Hector 15 times in his life.
It's good to have a thing.
But he Fast and the Furious is his thing because that's everybody knows him as Hector from Fast and the Furious. And the other example is like two of the guys who got shot during the border crossing scene of Sicario like have tons of posts about that on their profiles, and whenever somebody reposts the scene on Instagram, they like get up in the comments and they say it was an honor to die in this movie. Amazing.
Shane H. Wilder said, Mary, you would enjoy acting in a haunted house. It is fun. I knew where secret doors were and would scare people at the beginning and end of the haunt. That sounds like a power trip that I need in my life, honestly. DCNC said, always money in the banana stand. I missed that show. I think I want to rewatch it now. Pop Culture Junkie said, Brett, you hit the nail on the head. I walk at least 2 miles a day and ride 10 minutes on a recumbent bike. Yeah. I miss it if I don't do it every day. Yeah. Does that just mean it's a stationary bike?
I think that's, yeah.
Okay.
First time
I don't know all these exercise terms that you fit people have.
I didn't know that term either. I heard Stone Cold Steve Austin mention it on an interview on the day when he talked about almost having a heart attack before WrestleMania 18 or something like that. He's saying he was on a recumbent bike and started feeling, he didn't have a heart attack. It was something else. But like he said, he got felt really bad and had to go to the hospital like the night before the match. But yeah, just, and it doesn't have to be high intensity shit either. Like literally just don't sit on your chair when you could be up doing something else.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, the only difference in how I felt while I was consistently going to the gym is that like I wanted to eat like twice as much food. So that's kind of why I stopped. I didn't feel any noticeable differences in like sleep quality, mood, whatever. I think it was kind of oversold for me at least.
Yeah.
Not knocking it though.
In the chat, Matthew Somerville says recumbent bike is one where you lay back instead of sitting straight up.
Oh.
Okay.
Never seen one. Greg Duvier said same chair but different location.
Which chair?
Oh, with the cats.
Ah.
Well, that's sweet.
Well, you got to hold on to the kitty cats. That's important.
Do we have any rumble rants?
We're all caught up.
Get through? Okay.
Checking earlier. But yeah, so let me double check, make sure that I got everything here.
Maybe we should have planned to do 7 segments today.
We could do. Maybe we could do that. Even when we were still in the same studio, we never did 7. 6 was always what we were doing.
Yeah, that's true.
We should do that someday. Just see if we can do it. Like, see if we can get through.
It's
7.
weird because sometimes we'll do 5 and we go overtime, and then sometimes it's 6 and we have extra time. I don't know.
No, but the thing is, like, when you plan,
how much I'm yapping.
When you plan like more topics, then I'm not doing my job, because my job should be to be like, okay, we got 7 to get through. Let's quash this one at 8 minutes, or let's quash this one at 10 minutes. Sometimes I just get that's usually me at the end there, who's like, it's like there are definitely days where I've cut down our clips where I'm like, I didn't need to add that. Didn't add anything, and I just cut it out of the segment when we do it. Because it's all about understanding the flow of the show and knowing how to kind of effectively get yourself from topic to topic without feeling like you're running too short or too long. I don't know if too short can be a thing. I think it's perfectly fine to run through a topic short and then move on. Not for us, because we cut the stuff up and put them out into segments. But there's definitely a time where you can be there and you're like, okay, we're now at 30 minutes or something like that. The only difference here is if it's one of those ones where if it's one of those ones that require a lot of research, which that does happen, and it's literally a lot of just information dump, you can't really cut anything out. Opinions are always something you can sacrifice. Opinions don't necessarily always matter, but the details are the details, and if the details take a long time to get through, then they take a long time to get through. Yes, Matt Gingell, I did see that Brad Pitt started drinking again after 7 years, and he's literally hitting you with the I just got to dial it back a little bit. I'm like, bro, that's a bad
I didn't know that
idea.
Brad Pitt was sober in the first place.
Well, it was probably that plane ride. But there was it was funny because I actually screenshotted it, and there was 2 headlines. One is the top tweet says Brad Pitt thinks AI could help make more mid-budget movies, and then under that says Brad Pitt starts drinking again after 7 years of sobriety. And
coincidence? Yeah, I think not.
I think not.
I mean, it's sad because he's all alone now. His kids have all disowned him.
He needs to stay off the sauce badly.
It's not going to help anything.
It's not going to help him one bit, and he will learn eventually. Again, unfortunately, that moderation isn't possible when you're in recovery. So,
High Voltage 75 said, "Happy birthday week, Mary." Well, ooh. I think all of you should know that we've been in the middle of my birthday month for 10 days now.
Boo!
Okay, and it's not even close to over. So keep that in mind with how you speak to me.
We have we have 2 super chats here. I don't think these have shown up yet. Pop Culture Junkie says, exercise so you can have an occasional bag of Cheetos and indulge enjoying a big ass dessert. Of course, that's one of the motivations. Yeah, I do like
to be honest though, I do that anyways. Cuz I'm not willing to give it up. I wanted to mention, by the way, that tomorrow, I know it's kind of ruining. I was gonna do the Wednesday cosplay on Wednesday. Now that I'm coming back tomorrow, I'm doing the Wednesday cosplay on a Tuesday. I think actually it makes perfect sense because I'm Tuesday Adams. I'm not actually the real thing. I'm like the Walmart version. I'm Tuesday Adams.
There you go.
So just letting you guys know that I am keeping my word on the wager.
Ericole DeStefano says, "You're looking absolutely fabulous today in gray, Mary."
Thank you. I guess I don't have to do much to impress you. Just wear gray.
Brian Bledsoe says, "The only movie that I can think of that an intimate sex scene would be necessary would be Nymphomaniac. Never saw it."
Some people said that the first Terminator needed a sex scene, but I also don't remember if I ever watched that one.
I still don't think it did. I don't think it did. I think maybe the argument there is more that because the movie is so discombobulating with its frenetic pace and its kind of survival horror vibe and aesthetic and pacing, that it almost would have made more sense. But I disagree because I feel like John Connor, you get what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it actually wasn't necessary. I don't.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Thanks for reminding me, High Voltage. I've got to go find the birthday meme of Mary with chocolate Zin cake. Brett gets the old folks home. Mary gets Zin."
That's perfect.
Sounds fair to me.
That's perfectly fine.
I wish they had a birthday cake flavors in. I would buy that.
I'm surprised that doesn't exist.
It's because they're just gonna get like sued by the government or something.
The point I was making though is like Kyle Reese and her, they don't have to have that scene, but it would have made perfect sense given the gore of the movie and the tone of the movie, the fact that it was R-rated. I actually think it elevates their story and makes it sweeter, feel more real that they don't have the sex scene.
I would agree with that, but also I'm biased against them.
Yep. All right.
I think we're all caught up, though.
Yep. We got one from Francisco Sanchez Jr. "Howdy, guys. Mary, your girl Olivia Wilde's new movie is right up your alley. I mean, how could you not want to watch a movie where Penelope Cruz's character's name, Pina, and a carnal therapist?"
I'm
I think
very
her character's name is Pina, as in pineapple, and a carnal therapist, so it's like a sex therapist of some sort.
It doesn't really sound like my cup of tea, but thanks for the recommendation. You mean the invite, or is it something else? I don't remember. I think that's her new movie.
All right. One more from DCNC. "Kyle Reese and Sarah had to bang to make John for the future so John could send Kyle back in time to save his mom. Plot hole. There would be a plot hole. You still don't. That's the point.
It doesn't mean that you need to watch.
They're in the hotel, and they're in the hotel, and they're in a moment of calm. Well, they've both been terrified. Well, I don't know if Kyle's technically terrified, but Sarah's definitely terrified. Well, all of that's going on. No, I still don't think it was necessary, but I do think that it's one of those ones where it definitely still would have worked, but I don't think it was necessary.
Okay.
Not saying I definitely don't think that it was necessary. All right, guys. Before we go, hit the like button on this episode, please, and subscribe to the channel. If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. Share the episode out with everybody that you know. Thank you so much. Mary, where can they find you?
You guys can send me validation on Instagram. That is Mary Archived. Or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived. I'll see you tomorrow in character.
Yes.
Tuesday Adams.
All right. If you guys want to follow me, Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you'd like to listen rather than watch. You can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is a great way to help the channel out. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at popculturecrisis, Instagram at popculturecrisispod. One more here from DCNC says, "Still better than Florence Pugh on IMAX." Word up.
Anything is better than that.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with another episode tomorrow, episode 1111. We will see you there. Bye. Guys.